They say to take a look at the star, the first thing you have to do is elevate yourself to a higher plane. You remove yourself from all the commotion and reach a zenith so that you can take a look at the star in all its glory. So today we are in a city called Queen of the Hills to check out a new star that's landed here in India, the new generation Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Now this is the 6th generation of the C-Class and it goes by the code name of W206. Like its predecessor, it will be assembled right here in India at Mercedes-Benz India's Pune facility. And like its predecessor, when it goes on sale, it will be available in 3 versions: the C200 petrol, the C220D diesel and the C300D that we're driving here, which also has a AMG pack. Now, Mercedes India is calling this new C-Class as the Baby S. Now, it might look like one in pictures from certain angles, but here in metal, it's far from it. It has its own distinct, very sporty appeal to it, and the grille, especially here, it's new, and it has a frown-like design which is inspired by AMG models. The Avantgarde trim, on the other hand, it has a very subtle design to it. There are a massive grille lower down the bumper, and these digital LED headlamps, they have a familiar family design which is seen in the new E-Class and the S-Class, but here on the C it has a very distinctive sporty look to it. In the standard Avantgarde trim you get 17-inch alloy wheels, but here in the AMG line you get this wide-rimmed AMG spec distinctive looking alloy wheels in black, and then you move to the profile, and the C-Class, it has a right amount of muscle to make it look sporty in demeanor, and the stance, it looks pretty handsome. And at the back you have this stout boot line with a muscular crease here, and these LED tail lamps, they resemble more of the new gen A-Class. Lower down here you have this fake chrome exhaust strip as well. In terms of size, the new gen C-Class has grown in dimensions. It's 65 mm longer and 20 mm wider than the outgoing model, and the wheelbase, it's increased by 25 mm and 21 mm of which is benefiting the rear legroom. Overall, in metal, the new C-Class looks quite handsome. It has grown mature over its predecessor. But then again, design is very subjective. So do let us know what you think about the design of this new C-Class and whether you like it over its direct rivals, the BMW 3 Series, the Jaguar XE and the Audi A4. Now let's get in and see how much the S-Class has inspired the cabin of this new gen C-Class. When you get inside, for a newcomer, it would be really difficult to differentiate the cabin of the S-Class with this C-Class, mostly because of everything that you see here has been inspired by the big S. So you get this massive touchscreen panel here that's like stacked on the center console, and it looks brilliant, and it's easy to reach as well. Now as for the steering, this is the AMG trim, so you get a flat bottom steering wheel here, which is little different and much more sportier than the one you get in the Avantgarde trim. Behind the wheel, does the new C-Class feels like an S? Well, it definitely doesn't, because you see the S-Class, it feels massive and it makes its presence felt. But here in C-Class, it's very compact and it wraps around you quite well. Behind the wheel, with good visibility, it feels very nimble. You see, we are driving around on the narrow streets of Mussorie and there's no issue of visibility at all. The floating armrests on the door, they look quite unique. There are 3 air vents on the center of the dashboard and on the either side, but these look subdued compared to the rotary style air vents which are seen on the current Gen A-Class. Now talking about this massive touchscreen that's stacked over here on the center console, it's very easy to reach. Even on the topmost corner, you don't have to reach out for it. And since it has the latest MBUX system, which is still very familiar, it's easy to navigate, and the touch response, it's really good. And part of the update here in this new C-Class is a touchscreen panel over here, just like what you get in your smartphones. You can also enter a telematic pin, like again in your smartphone, and the new Mercedes Me system, it has many new features which we'll show you later on the smartphone. As usual, the quality of the material is top-notch and nothing short of what you'd expect from a three-pointed star. There are soft touch materials used all around, and even the plastics have smooth glossy finish to them. Compared to its rivals, this cabin is far more aesthetic and definitely a better place to be in. It's not as opulent as the S-Class given its tight dimension and the S-Class being in a different league. But this baby S here is surely succeeding at giving you the flagship feel here in the cabin. Now at the back, the added wheelbase has provided some legroom for the second row passengers, but those 21 mm are barely noticeable. These seats here are quite comfortable for my frame and they offer good amount of head and knee room here, especially with this curved design for the front seats. Most of the owners who would be spending the time here would not find it a bad place to be in. And there's 450 plus liters of boot space here before the spare wheel occupies most of it. But there's a provision to fold down the rear seats if you have more stuff to move around. Now on the features front, there's a long list here. The new Gen C-Class comes with Mercedes digital headlight as standard and LED tail lamps at the back. It also comes with driver assist features which include active braking and park assist. On the inside, there's Dual-pane Sunroof, a dual-zone climate control, electrically powered front seats, a Burmester sound system, and a new age connectivity feature in the form of Mercedes Me Connect. It also gets voice commands. Now there's an inbuilt navigation system with 3D maps integrated into it. In terms of things it misses out, the 360-degree camera is a major miss. A new addition to this generation of C-Class is a special feature called Car2X connectivity, which connects the S-Class and C-Class on the road through a social network. Through this feature, the data collected by the S-Class on the roads, such as traffic jams or bad road conditions, would be transmitted to the C-Class so that the C-Class owner can be well aware or take a better route while driving. Now in terms of powertrain, the new generation C-Class, it has the familiar three versions. The C200, which is the sole petrol engine option right now, it is powered by a 1.5 litre petrol engine, which puts out around just over 200 bhp. The C220D on the other hand is the diesel, the entry-level diesel, which has a 2 litre 4-cylinder engine and it puts out just under 200 bhp of power. Then we have this, the range-topping C300 diesel in the AMG pack, and it has a total output of 260 bhp. All three engine options are paired to a 9-speed automatic gearbox as standard. Also standard now is a 48-volt mild hybrid system which has an integrated starter generator paired with the motor. It not only helps with coasting, but it has also tremendously improved the fuel efficiency figures. Now this is not a proper angry AMG, it's just an AMG line. So there's no real sense of occasion when you crank it up. But the diesel engine, it's quite silent at idle and you barely hear it inside the cabin. But you do dial up the revs and you can hear the throaty engine note and some response from the exhaust as well. Now even in the comfort mode that we have been driving all morning, the throttle response is very alert and the steering quite precise. And if you want some more driving fun and more involvement, there's always the sport mode and the individual mode as well. We've been driving the C300 on the twisty tight turns of the Mussorie mountains and it has been loads of fun. Now in the sport mode, the throttle response gets even eager thanks to the revs the engine holds a bit longer, and the steering, it has added weight to it. So when you are driving on a mountainous road like this, it's definitely better to have the sport mode activated like we have right now. The gear shift on this 9-speed automatic gearbox, it's pretty seamless. Since there are 9 gears to row in, you can always see the gearbox going constantly up or down the gear depending on whether you're on throttle or on the brake, just to find the right gear to find a balance between power and efficiency. As for the ride quality, there are no major mechanical differences between the new generation C-Class and the old one. But we have driven this new C-Class over some really bad surfaces at slow speeds, and it has held composure really well. Over the short period of time we had the C-Class with us, we drove it on the narrow, tight, twisty roads of Dehradun and Mussorie. And we never got a chance to take it out on the highway. So for a full-fledged road test of the C-Class, you'll have to wait a bit longer on CarWale. And in that full-fledged road test, we'll also be testing the fuel efficiency and the 0 to 100 kilometer time of the new generation C-Class, because Mercedes says the C200 and the C20D, it has a acceleration timing of around 7 seconds, and this the C300D, it's sub 6 seconds. So we'll definitely have to test that out ourselves. Mercedes-Benz India is looking at 2022 to be their best-selling year ever. And with the launch of this new Gen C-Class, it won't be difficult to see their order books, which is already full, to see a good surge. Now what the new S-Class has got going for itself are good looks, a modern and luxurious cabin, and the C300D also provide a good blend of driving dynamics and yet is more flashy and stylish compared to others in its class. Prices for the new Gen Mercedes-Benz C-Class should be announced shortly. We expect the starting price should range between Rs 50 to 60 lakh at showroom. As for calling the new Gen C-Class as the Baby S, we think it justifies that name. You see, it has so many goodies that has been trickled down from the more expensive S-Class, and it offers its buyer comfort and luxury in a more affordable package. It's like having a slice from a more expensive cake. It's just a slice, but it has the same ingredients and it tastes just as delicious.